the channel. Good morning. Apologies for my lack of a proper voice this morning. Touch of the man flu coming in again. Nothing to do with all those beers and everything that's been drunk over the last couple of days. Anyways, we're back for another video on Sorare. Celtic doing the business again. Pretty pleased about that, I must admit. Always doing the business with the clean sheets. Been a huge advantage this season with Kasper Schmeichel obviously putting in some really good scores. So we're going to have a look ahead to the weekend. There's some other stuff on obviously as well. Cap to 40, frozen passer. Brighton have a double game week, etc. as well. So lots of stuff happening. We'll have a look at the overall fixtures as well. So first and foremost, let's have a wee look at what's happened over the previous game week. Pretty successful, so very happy with that. Divisions are just, I'm not going to go into a whole divisions chat, but we've got 7 promotions, so that's really good. Best team didn't get the highest amount because obviously been relegated to D2, but in Super Rare it's pretty interesting. I mean, everybody obviously hears me having a bit of a rant about Super Rare from time to time, but probably less need for divisions in Super Rare in certain circumstances, but what you do get is the overall scarcity of the cards. So, you know, if Celtic win to 0 and it's only the SPFL playing, then, you know, it is proper good. And that's the thing about the next game week as well. Contender at the moment is pretty much just, no, it's not pretty much, it is the SPFL. So, you know, St Mirren doing the business against Rangers was always welcome. Anyway, on to the preview and then we'll go through all the information obviously for the Celtic game as well. There's predictions up on Predictor.fi as well. So this spreadsheet by Sorare probabilities. I'll be using this a bit on the video today as long as my voice holds up. So don't worry, I've got the water ready and everything. We'll be going for a fry up soon. Maybe a sauna in a steam room as well. In which order, I don't know. So anyways, back to the preview. I can't remember what I was going to say now. It's just the Celtic winning stuff and everything, isn't it? So anyways, yeah, spreadsheet by Sorare probabilities. Brilliant service. You do have to pay for it as well, obviously. But really good. All the XG stuff and everything, which we're going to go through just now. You can tailor it to your own players. And then we'll come back to Predictor.fi in a wee minute. So, best fixture, Arsenal against Ipswich. Not a huge surprise there, I guess. Ipswich have been a wee bit leaky this season, so 3xG, 61% clean sheet percentage. Again, Arsenal have had a lot of some injuries and everything this season, so interesting one. Tough schedule, obviously, in the English Premier League as well, lots of games. You'd expect Arsenal to beat Ipswich, but you know, they're quite capable of scoring going forward as well, obviously. Celtic against St Johnstone, 2.96 XG, 56% clean sheet percentage. Another good fixture for Celtic. This game's against St Johnstone at home, then it's the Rangers at Ibrox, and then St Mirren at home. So quite a few home games in this spell for Celtic, which is pretty good from an SO5 perspective. Remember when Celtic play at home, Rangers play away. So both Glasgow teams, so you know it's extra good in terms of the SPFL schedule, although Rangers haven't really been the best SO5 team this season, to be perfectly honest. Tavernier obviously is the standout, but he's a bit riddled with disappointment at the moment. Sorry Rangers fans. If there's any Rangers fans watching this channel this morning, then I'm heavily surprised, but there we go. Porto against Boavista. I've seen a bit of news that Porto are trying to sign Valentin Barco. That would be a banger of a signing. 2.87 XG, 64% clean sheet percentage. So that looks like the best fixture in Challenger. So obviously we've got the best EPL fixture there, the best SPFL or tender fixture, and probably the best Challenger fixture as well. Champ is open too with Serie A, and we'll come back to that in a minute. Manchester City against Leicester. Yeah, I mean, Leicester put up a reasonable performance against Liverpool. I did watch that game last night as well. Liverpool doing pretty well overall. Leicester, I think, can cause some problems to Manchester City. Just obviously not playing very well. I don't want to keep saying obviously this morning. I'm going to stop saying that. It sounded like Harry Kane with a Scottish hangover. Manchester City are rubbish at the moment. Liverpool against West Ham United. Well, West Ham are at home, 2.4 XG for Liverpool. Pretty impressed with Liverpool. Goes without saying, I guess. But yeah, they're doing really well, on a really good run. Don't expect a lot of changes, etc. I guess this is an intensive schedule, and then things will calm a bit. I think there's some FA Cup games and things coming, so I guess that'll be a chance for teams to rotate a wee bit. No real sort of winter break or anything. Tottenham against Wolves. Again, Tottenham not doing very well at the moment. Lots of injuries, hampering them a bit at the back, but always good for a couple of goals. Wolves, bit of a resurgence there as well. They've got a lot up top with Cunha and Larson. So, yeah, I guess a 28% clean sheet percentage for Tottenham's quite accurate. Chelsea playing Ipswich as well. It's double game week. So, Chelsea need to really get back to winning ways. Faltered a wee bit, letting Liverpool get away. So, yeah, there'll be twists and turns, but Chelsea really need to get back to winning ways for sure. Napoli against Venezia, so 54% clean, 55% clean sheet percentage, really 2.25 XG. So you've got some Napoli, some Italian teams like Napoli coming in for Champion, which is open, so EPL open and Champ, which is good. We'll try and see if we can pick out some cap to 40 players at the end as well, but we'll see. As I said, how the voice is holding up. Rangers against Motherwell. Celtic did beat Motherwell comprehensively, but this game is at home, and to be honest, Rangers' SPFL away form is atrocious. Like, if you really can be bothered, like, if you go and have a look at the table, really not good away from home at all. Funnily enough, getting some better results in Europe, like beating Nice away, who did rotate a bit. But you know, your draw away, I think it was the Greek team, I can't remember the name of the team, it's Olympiacos. Anyway, doing pretty well in Europe, but really quite poor in Scotland away from home. So, you know, they could go and beat Motherwell by a few goals. I'm not saying that's not possible, but I think the fixtures are stacking up pretty well again for Celtic. Inter Milan against Cagliari, no real in-season Inter Milan cards, but pretty decent from a classic point of view. Anderlecht against Ender. I haven't followed Anderlecht much this season, to be honest. Brighton against Brentford. Well, that's an interesting one because Brighton not really on the best run at the moment. Brentford are a bit leaky, but they do tend to score goals. So 34% clean sheet percentage. 2 XG seems quite accurate. Brighton do have 2 games. The other one's not showing up in terms of any outstanding stats, but it's always a good thing getting that double dunter, as I refer to it as, sometimes known as something else it's called. They play against Aston Villa, so that's the away fixture, which is underneath that. Moving on, Sassuolo against Cosenza. Obviously, if you've got a Berardi, then it's pretty handy. Bad result for them against Pisa, so they'll want to get back to winning ways as well. Pisa were second, or I think still second, but now getting quite close. Crystal Palace against Southampton. Southampton always a bit susceptible to giving away a few goals. Nothing else really standing out there. Hibs against Kilmarnock. Hibs back on a bit of form, to be honest. Quite interesting. Anyway, I'm going to move on now because I can feel my voice going. I'm going to be talking like this one because I've got no voice. Hey, on to Celtic. So, a good win, 4-0 at home. Bit of a sort of dull first half. But pulled through again. Nicholas Kuhn was on the bench. Alistair Johnson was completely out. I think we, on Predictify, got the top 6 correct. Midfield, front 3. Carter Vickers and Schmeichel. The other ones I had at really low percentages, so I know it's a bit of a cop-out, but it's one I'm most disappointed with Scales. I think, actually, I should really have called that with Trusty coming back in, that Scales might still have started, so that's the main one I'm a wee bit annoyed about from my point of view, but I do think that I see a lot of people who've done pretty well with Celtic and still appreciated the advice. So thanks very much for the nice comments on that, and I have made sure I got myself out my bed this morning to get the information to everybody. So let's go through Kasper Schmeichel, 95%, no surprise there. Big man's been really good. I'm assuming that there's no lingering illness or anything in the camp as well. There's no reports of any issues. I will have a look this morning, see if there's any training videos and everything. There won't be a lot of training this time of year. I mean, that's things, games sticking fast, so guys don't really need to train, if that makes sense. Alex Valley, I think, will come in for a game soon. Greg Taylor has sort of cemented himself as the sort of first choice left back, really. He's not signed a contract yet, so that's an interesting situation. I wonder whether Brendan Rodgers try to give him games, get him signed the contract, get him secured. That's a proper interesting one because Celtic will want to push forward, and you've seen some games in Europe and even against Rangers, Taylor has been targeted for playing out for the back in that sort of inverted position he plays. Cat Vickers, I've got him down to 75%. I mean, obviously, just back. I haven't said obviously again. Shut up. He's just back after being ill, but he did get a break, and I heard that last Sunday, this is now Friday, he was on the bike, so I think he's already been managed, if that makes sense. I wouldn't be hugely surprised to see kind of Scales and Trusty and then Trusty and Vickers at Ibrox, but I think that Carter Vickers is now back in good shape. The other thing is, when you play against Motherwell at home and it's 4-0, he just strolls through those games, so that's not like a demanding game for him either. So I think he'll probably start, and if Rodgers wants to manage his minutes, might come off. Anthony Ralston at 90%, big 100 in Sorare there, so got the win in D2, good on him. I think that Alistair Johnson now will come back for the game at Ibrox. If he is back for this game, I don't see him starting personally. Given that he was out the last game as well and not even on the bench, then I think that it'll be a situation where he might come back for 20 or 30 minutes before Ibrox or just come straight back in at Ibrox. I don't think he needs fitness at this time of the season. He'll just be managing that injury and making sure he's okay. Remember, it's miles ahead, but Celtic have got some big Champions League games and everything coming up in January as well. Cal McGregor, obviously, I think he'll... Say that again. This is what happens when you wake up, you've got a touch of the man flu and you've been on the beer for 2 days, honestly. 95% McGregor, I think his minutes will be managed before he'll be left out, so there we go. I think Rio Hatate will come back in, come on, scored. Arnie Engels played a pretty decent game as well. Somebody's got to miss out, and it's quite harsh on Bernardo. You could see Bernardo getting more minutes in these games. You could even see Engels go back to the bench and then Engels start at Ibrox. People would be pretty disappointed by that, I know. But you've got to remember, all these games coming up just now, Celtic have got a squad for a reason. Even with making changes, Celtic are still 12 points clear. It's getting a bit cold over at Govan, isn't it? Did we chill there? -12. Moving on to the front three. Nicholas Kuhn, 75%. I think he'll start. Yang obviously started the last game. I've said it again. It's in my head now. Yang started the last game. I think Kuhn coming on and scoring, that'll be good for his confidence. I think he'll start this one, come off 60 or 70. Maeda with James Forrest out, I'll just need to keep running. And the thing that Daizen Maeda can do is keep running. So I think he'll likely start this game. You could see Kuhn and Yang. You could. But I think Maeda's buzzing at the moment. He's scoring diving headers. He's flicking the ball over people in cup finals. He's scoring winning penalties. He'll just keep running. Celtic play Ibrox away and then St Mirren at home. So there's other chances to, maybe manage his minutes a wee bit. I've got Furuhashi back in here. I mean, I don't think it was anything particularly wrong with Adam Ida's performance. He could start again. I think Furuhashi is the man against Rangers. Historically, he has done really well against Rangers, so it's just a real sort of toss-up in terms of who's going to start. You'll see from yesterday that if one starts, the other one generally comes on and all that type of stuff. And then finally, even with Adamido and Engels was on penalties, so I can totally see why people would want to pick Engels from an SO5 perspective. When Scales plays too, it's pretty good because you get that Engels and Scales combination where Engels whipping in really good balls into the box, and then Scales is getting on it with the jaggy bunnet, as we call it here in Scotland. So there we go. So before we select any teams, etc., I'm not going to give away my Celtic team. I'm giving away a lot of information here, and I hope that people do understand that. If I go in and I start selecting my Celtic lineup, it's a bit harder for people when there's just SPFL on, because they don't have many options against those super rares. But particularly in rare, it's quite hard. People have got different options, and I don't want to just give away my actual team, if that makes sense. But we'll go through this and we'll see if there's any sort of standout numbers anyways. So this part of the spreadsheet is focused again on my own players. Left on All-Star because we want to start getting into the thought of who we're going to pick here for various divisions. And then I've got it set at the moment to last 15, average score of 50. So put it back to 100 just now, and then we'll filter it down. So cap to 40, 5, so that's what, 40, I can't count today, 40 plus 5, so that's 50-ish, yeah, it's just under 50, so, but we want to really get some of those guys who are really good. Is there any like 0 last 15s or whatever? So, David Raya, I've got a limited of standing out there. Kasper Schmeichel projected 70, no real surprise there. Elia Caprile doesn't really play these days. Usually a good young goalkeeper, somebody I would probably pick up for a future. Excellent goalie. Ravaglia gets a game on rotation for Bologna, so that's quite interesting. Toby Lyson there with a projected score at 80, so clean sheet 40%. Absolutely robbed. Sorry for anybody that had Lyson and got like the penalty conceded in the 100th minute there, whatever. That's just crazy. Angus Gunn 40% clean sheet percentage, only a projected 46, but I guess if he does get a clean sheet at home, 40% is a reasonable percentage, right? Phil Bjornsson definitely could come in for Sanchez. I think he's a better goalkeeper than Robert Sanchez anyway, so that's just my own opinion. Doesn't mean he's going to start this game or whatever. Sanchez obviously is number one. We've got Alisson projected 67. Liverpool have been probably the best defence in Liverpool. I don't think actually Everton are the best defence in Liverpool the last couple of games, but they've been good. Tough game at West Ham. Got a lot of good players. Kudus, Bowen, they've got a lot of threats there. Ellery Balcom at home. St Mirren have their tails up. Balcom could be a right outside shout. Last 15 or 44. So there we go. There's a candidate for your cap comps. Verbruggen again, it's a bit more expensive because he's under 23, Dutch goalie. Another good candidate for the cap. So, and Emi Martinez again, he dropped a bit now. So, I think there's a couple of good candidates for the caps. So we've got Verbruggen, Emi Martinez at home. I guess always a candidate at home. You can put into me as well. Jack Walton, Dundee United, pretty decent this season. Kokubo I like, only 28% clean sheet percentage though, so difficult. And then Maitov back, so he's still showing us having the injury on here, but he is now back for Aberdeen, who have fallen away a bit. Really need to regain some form. I will filter this I'm just looking at the best scores just now and trying to mix in some cap to 40 advice. We've missed the lunch. 20 minutes, that's not too bad for a husky voice. Maxence Lacroix, I sold his super rare earlier on this season. Looks like a bad choice. A really good big player. Honestly, I think could be a guy that might get talked about in Saliba circles and all that type of stuff. He's a good player, right? Lacroix, project 100 here, so put off anyone off picking him for this game week at home. Chalobah's a standout there. I don't know if he will actually start though. Otamendi's been a bit in and out. I mean, Benfica have got Antonio Silva and Thomas Araujo. Araujo's been excellent. You just got to watch, I guess, for rotation. Guardiola there, no real surprise. Diamande, good young player, pretty affordable at the moment. I mean, Sporting not really in vogue with Angerum moving to Manchester United. Liam Scales projected 76. I'd have him a bit higher than that, if I'm honest. On a projected score at home, dominating the ball and everything. So, yeah, if he starts, very dangerous. Anyone else standing out there? Ryan Porteous, an interesting one. Pretty cheap these days. Only 35% clean sheet percentage, right enough. But any type 1 Miranda's a guy I own myself. Say we will. Felt like this the wee minute. JP, John Paul Van Heck's definitely a reasonable shout for a double game week. Morgan Hulman, last 15 of 54, so 86 an interesting one's not a guy who gets a lot of decisives. Matt O'Reilly should be back soon. Fabio Vieira, last 15 of 55, so that's kind of there or thereabouts for the captive 40. I mean, you definitely get a guy like that. And Di Maria, Arnie Engels, last 15 of 46, so there's a pick for a captive 40. On pens, even took the pen when Ida was on, come back into the team. Will he start? That's the question. Carlos Baleba is always capable of the old monster scores. Declan Rice, been a bit quiet. Yeah, last 15 of 62, not that quiet. Saka's out. Mo Salah, we're going to say, run down the wing, sign a new contract and all that, Kulusevski, I guess 59's not too unreasonable for captive 40 as well. I think what we'll do probably just filter it like 40-45 and see if we can pick out any real interesting ones. Anyone else standing out there? Kvaratskhelia at home, 51 average. Real Hatate, I think Hatate will be back in. So anyone who plays for Celtic at the moment and gets a start, very, very interesting. Let's filter it to 45 and see anyone who sticks out here. And Nketiah has been pretty disappointing. I guess they'll go Jock, get a game on rotation. Yakuba Minty, been an interesting one over the 2 games. Sometimes takes some sets as well. So, yeah, you get 2 chances, 2 bites at the cherry there for your run for your money. Don't think Matt O'Reilly will play. Matt Sweefer come up in my yearly review and said that he was my best card or something. I think there's some sort of bug with that. Lucas Bergvall, interesting one. Might get come in rotation for Tottenham Hotspurs. Ian Matson could get a game. Emerson Royale, pretty interesting one. Last 15 of 45, 90% according to the spreadsheet to start. So could be a good option for captive 40. Sugawara definitely would put off. I mean, Southampton 16% clean sheet percentage, but Sugawara is more of a guy who you think might get an assist, so don't be too concerned about that. You get a bit of protection there. And then, I picked him out earlier. Best options for captive 40. You could go above an average of 45. I mentioned our goalkeepers earlier, but Ellery Balcomb's a good one at home. Verbruggen's got a double game week. Maitov's there. Is there anyone else a wee bit lower down? Oxborough, I mean, he'll certainly be busy against Rangers. Could take a chance there. Again, these are my own players. Let's have a look at the overall player database and see if we can pick anyone out. I've actually already got this set to last 15 of 45. So, Robert Sanchez, if he plays. Mateta, interesting one at home. There's a pretty good one actually. Guy who does really well at home for Crystal Palace. So I'm glad I had a look at that. Franco Israel, really due a good performance for Sporting, right? They've been really bad since Angerum left. Anyone else standing out here? I'm trying to pick guys who've got a pretty good chance of starting. Gianluca Caprari is a guy who used to own a way back. Pretty good player. Could be one you could sort of keep classic wise for, looks like Monza might go down as well. So Monza he's at. Yeah, could just be talking rubbish. But Dujon Sterling's there. Zion Suzuki, definitely a reasonable shout for Parma as well. Estimated 69. Clean sheet percentage of, so 30%. I guess he's going to be busy. He's a guy who can put up a lot of saves, so if he doesn't concede 3, then could definitely outscore his cap there with a big pull on it at you. Jose Sa, Trossard's an interesting one. A bit in and out, but could get a decisive. So there we go. Maduka, Akoi also coming up in terms of goalkeeper options. So my head's not working so much in terms of doing a lot of selections just now, but hopefully that will give everybody some ideas for the caps and everything. Say we've got frozen passer. I'm feeling a bit like a frozen snotter now rather than a frozen passer. If you've got to this point in the video and you're still listening to me saying obviously every 2 minutes and this husky voice and stuff, then thank you again. So I've flicked it to the next page just so you can see. So frozen passer basically discounts all passing stats. So you don't really want defenders who get a lot of passing stats. I guess Celtic defenders might still stack up okay because they do get a lot of things which come from like possession one and but you're going to miss your final third passes and you're going to miss your normal passes. From a creative midfielder point of view, your guys who get a lot of like big chances created, etc., are not going to be so good. So I guess it's like, what's the strategy for this? Pick guys who get decisives. So you like actual assists, fine, but big chance created and things isn't. Guys who get goals but don't really get a lot of passing type stuff could come into their own. So yeah, I think I'll be picking that pretty much last. I mean, I do like Cap 240 and there's like a star rare and everything in Cap 240, as there is in the Frozen Passer. So I guess from a super rare point of view, if I've got anybody left after Contender, I might chuck a team in there. But yeah, it's interesting. Let me know if you get any thoughts on that from a stats point of view. I guess if you're getting right into the stats and you find a wee niche there or whatever, then go for it. But yeah, I'm away for a swim and a fry up. So if you got to this point in the video, thanks very much. This will probably be, it won't be the last video of the year. We'll probably get one around the weekend before New Year. Try and get it done morning of the 29th or whatever. Will be another Celtic game coming up against Rangers at Ibrox, so we'll definitely try and do that. Keep things rolling on, keep everybody updated with the famous Glasgow Celtic. Anyway, I'll end now. If you have got to this point, please do like and subscribe. We're approaching 2,000 subscribers. We're not John Nellis, we're not like any of those big guys or whatever. I don't actually make any money from YouTube, just try to do it for a bit of enjoyment and to help you guys out. But really pleased with the way the years went anyway, and I do appreciate everyone watching again. Anyways, we'll end in customary fashion. Good luck and go fuck. Get yourself some water.